Alright, so this is my very large face frame for the cabinets below the kitchen countertop. The issue I had is I had a little bit of a rhombus effect where everything was just slightly off, because these two pieces here, one of them was off like a couple eighths of an inch, but it was enough to create that effect to make this little kitty corner. So what I had to do down on this corner here, because this one was a little bit longer, I sanded off probably not even an eighth of an inch, and then I measured from this corner to this corner up here, and then just the opposite diagonally to make sure everything was all set. This is what will be going below the kitchen sink area. Now I've pre-measured out certain areas, and I'll describe what I did a little bit. This section is in front of the kitchen sink. This section is to the left where the potable water tank is. On this part here, I actually had a pretty deep groove to start with, and I put another thick layer in there. I sanded down pretty good, but there's definitely still a gap in there. Right, again, I'm going to leave extra on top of that. So in these three sections, I have a slight but easily correctable dilemma. The doors that were on the cabinet that I'm repurposing are just slightly too short in height for these sections. So all I did is I've ripped down more of the pallet wood to repurpose that, and I will not be doing any screws in here. I will be gluing here and on the sides, clamping it in each section. What that will allow me to do is to create a little bit bigger of a face frame on the bottom on each section without really sacrificing any space. And then after that, all I have to do is resand all this down, put a little bit of bead of glue on that. And I want to have my best side in the front. Both are kind of borderline. So I'll put this in the front. I'll have to sand it down anyway. And I probably really don't need a whole lot on there. This on the side. Get this as close as I can to the bottom. And I don't need it to be, I'm not going to tighten these super tight, because I just need it to, a couple of these to hold it together. Alright, I've left these clamps on overnight because these were only glued in place, which should be more than sufficient. And again, this is to give me a little bit extra buffering space so the doors are covering this opening here. So I'm going to take all these off. I know I don't really have to test it, but that is definitely not going anywhere. So here's the front section now, all glued into place. Now it is slightly uneven, which is fine. It comes up above this a little bit. So I will need to sand this down so this is all nice and smooth. This side actually I did a little bit better job on keeping all this smooth. There's a couple little gaps here. I can fill those in. Alright, so here's the next step regarding doors for my lower kitchen cabinet face frame. Each of these doors came off an old cabinet that was down in my dad's cellar, so we're going to repurpose them for this face frame that I've made here. Alright, as you can see, I've got the doors already cut down to size. The next step is I'm going to reuse these handles that were on the doors, but several of them I will have to drill some new holes to place these. So I had two options: either use this, try and get it as straight as I could, or I did have a leftover piece of a door that I had to cut off. I can use this on my template, which I've already done on this one. I line this up, make sure it's straight on the edges, drill down through to drill a couple of holes, and then this piece will fit here, nice and snug. And I did test the screws; they go very well and back. So I'm going to do the rest of these doors and get them ready so that I can do the painting. So what I need to do next before I paint is to smooth all the edges down. I'm not going to use an electric sander. So I've taken just a basic piece of sandpaper and I have it on this block, and that's just going to make it infinitely easier to go all around these edges and smooth that down. Alright, so let me take you on a little bit tour wrapping this all up. Now, again, just to go over, these were repurposed doors from an old cabinet. I've got everything set up for the face frame on this side. Since I didn't use the pocket hole method, I screwed this in from behind. Let me give you a little bit on how that's a little better view on how that's held in place. So now I don't have a lot of lighting, but in behind here there's ripped down 2x4s, and then I pre-drilled some holes through that, and I got the wood screws that are just enough. This is definitely not going anywhere. Now the next thing I had to do was how to keep these doors closed. So I bought, let's see if we can get a little bit better lighting here. I bought these little latches here, and these are designed to kind of snap right in, hold that in place. The only thing I had to do different is I had to find shorter screws to go into this because the wood was so thin that the screws that came with it, I do have, they started to poke through, but I'm pretty sure I can fix that. Moving on down, let's see, this is all set. This setup here is going to be a little bit different. Alright, you can see two sets of doors. Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to have one large open space. Now the rest of these have a split between the face frame. This face frame is actually a fake one. So my plan is to have a rollout 12-volt Domestics fridge here. So all I did is I created my, of course, my face frame, but instead of leaving this piece attached in here, I just attached it to the door, and this one will keep it closed. Now down here there's two small doors. I was almost going to leave this blocked off, however I did the same thing here. I created a fake face frame, I guess we call a false frame, whatever you want to call it, because this could be a usable storage space even though my toe kick is underneath. So I'm going to close that, a little bit loud. Alright, as always, I'm hoping you find at least my videos entertaining. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Feedback is always welcome as well. I always try to keep an eye out for comments and respond to them as soon as I can.